I don't like Bill Daltrey, or however you pronounce his last name, and I want to talk about it. I just could not help but really not like Bill at all. Bill to me is so annoying. He is just super annoying, and I just hate that Hank has to constantly baby him and be there for him and take care of him like his own child. And I feel like Hank, on some level, takes care of Bill in a way that he would his own child, and he maybe does that because he doesn't have his own child, or like have another child, because I'm pretty sure it's clear that they will like another child. I get that a lot of people say that Bill is selfless. He's a kind person. But from my perspective, when I watch the series, it just seems that Bill is kind, selfless, and everything, not because that's who he is, but because he is pathetic. I think his kindness and his selflessness comes from his patheticness, not necessarily just that he is those things. Is Bill willingly single and pathetic? No, you don't have to be, in a relationship to not be pathetic. I couldn't help but think that Bill is willingly single because he had the opportunity to be in a healthy relationship. His whole stick is that, he's single, he's divorced, he's pathetic, he's sad, nobody loves him. That's his whole thing. That's his whole personality. That's his whole character. And maybe they don't want to change his character. That's why they didn't make that relationship work. Maybe they just wanted him to stay in character. But one of the reasons why I really don't like Bill is because he kind of, in a sense, with Dale, but with Bill, I just feel like he's the kind of person that can hold others back, in a sense. I'm not sure if that's actually making sense. But I just feel like he's pathetic and is a burden to Hank's life, in a sense. But I don't think Hank minds, because like I said, he wouldn't, I feel like he wants another child, so he just made Bill his surrogate child on some a little bit messed up, way, while these are two probably the same age grown men. And I know a lot of people will say that, oh, Hank, respects Bill, and yes, I understand. Hank is a very American, by the book type of guy, typical everything, and he has a deep respect for like the military, so he does, in a sense, look up to Bill. Is it the military that made him that way? Like, what is it? I just feel like it's a lot deeper than that. The fact that Bill had the opportunity to finally be in a relationship, the one thing that he's been crying about almost all seasons, what does he do? He ruins it. He ruins it. And I feel like maybe he got two chances and he kind of ruined both of them. And was it the second one that was just like, it did not make sense? He was just like, no. And I'm like, bro, what? So you're just gonna go back to crying, limping, always bothering everyone, telling everyone how sad and lonely and single you are. But when you had the opportunity to be with somebody, you chose not to. So that's why I came out. I'm like thinking to myself, is he a willing participant in being single? Does he just want to be single so that he can latch on to the boys? Like, is he sacrificing the
A
boys
relationship.
for his singlehood? Is he just like so stuck in being the single, lonely, sad, depressing guy that he can't see himself outside of that concept? He's just used to the routine of having Hank there and having his friends there and drinking beer, and everything. So another thing with Bill that really bothers me is that he always talks about how lonely he is and how he doesn't have a family, which is true. He doesn't have a family in comparison to most of his friends, except Boomhauer, I guess, maybe. But like I said, you had the opportunity, you missed it. One, two, I kind of get it, but then again, I just feel like he has a support group. Like, it's not like Bill doesn't have a support group. He has Hank, who is always there for him. And I'm pretty sure by now he's very much reliable on Hank. He knows that Hank is a reliable guy. He's always there. So he's dependable. He's constant. He's always there. So I don't understand the mathematics of how something that is constant and it's always there, you know, somehow that doesn't reflect in your life. Like, you don't see that as, oh, I have somebody, I have a support group that's always there for me, that's always watching out for me. So maybe I do have people who love me. Maybe I'm not as sad and pathetic. You know what I mean? So he has Hank. He has the rest of his friends, right? And they have a routine of standing there for years, right? Drinking beer in the evenings or whatever that they do. And I'm like, you have friends you have been friends with for years. They're constant in your life. And
not just that, but Bill has had a lot of positive interactions throughout his gimmicks in the shows. Like, he has had negative ones, of course, but he's also had enough positive encounters that I feel like he should, like, for example, the one episode when he was like waving on the road. Like, I feel like he's had enough positive encounters to actually change and, I don't know, have more self-esteem, but he just never does. Like, Bill never changes. Bill never grows. He's like a forever baby. Bill is also very creepy, and in a lot of very weird ways, it just shows there's something that is not fundamentally right with him. And I think him going to the military was absolutely the worst idea for him, because he already had a messed up childhood. So going to the military just added more on to that.
still you feel like you don't have a support group. That makes no sense to me. Like, still you think you're so sad and pathetic and you just have to make that your character so bad. Like, I just think that the level that it's on is just way higher than it needs to be. Like, it's just so annoying. Like, every single time there's another Bill episode of him being pathetic and Hank has to come in, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Next, please, let's talk about somebody else. Anybody else. Dale, please. Even Dale. Dale is entertaining at least. You know what I mean? Another thing that pisses me off is Bill and Peggy. I am not a big fan of how Bill is constantly like hitting, not like constantly, but I don't like the fact that he does hit on Peggy. You know, it bothers me a lot because how is it, okay, that you're hitting on the wife of your best friend who is literally always there for you? It's just, to me, it just seems like disrespect. I'm sorry. It's disrespect to Peggy. It's disrespect to Hank. You know what I mean? And there's some episodes where he's just so blatant about it. Like, he's like right in front of Hank too. Like, and I'm like, Hank does nothing to stop this. Hank does nothing to correct Bill. Hank does nothing about it. And like I've said, maybe it's because he thinks that Bill isn't man enough for Peggy, or he just thinks that it will never happen, or whatever. But Hank is the kind of person that sets like very strong boundaries with everyone in his life. He's very rigid in so many senses and stuff. But for some reason, when it comes to this, he just can't, he doesn't do anything. And that has just always bothered me. And it's always bothered me that Bill hits on Peggy, because why would you why would you do that? Now, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe in some twisted universe, in the male universe, it's a compliment to hit on your best friend's wife. Like, oh, she's so fine that I'll hit that. You got a good one. I don't know. You tell me. I'm just trying to find something, because the fact that Bill, like, it literally, I can't stand it. Like, it bothers me like a lot. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really don't like her character. Like, I really don't like her character. And I know a lot of people say, oh my gosh, he is so giving, and but I just see it as all that stuff, him being selfless, him being like very giving and kind, it all comes from him being pathetic, not having enough self-esteem or self-worth. It doesn't come from him being like, oh, like a well-rounded person that just so happens to be kind, that just so happens to be, giving and selfless. It doesn't come from a healthy place. I just think it comes from toxicity. Now, why doesn't Hank like tell Bill stop? You know what I mean? So their dynamic just kind of irks me because it's just like this dynamic is one of the male friendship dynamics that I really, really don't like. And I think I see it a lot. So many guys out there like Bill, they need to depend on somebody. I'm not sure if it's just because their upbringing or not getting enough of something like parental guidance, and they rely on male validation like a lot and like other males around them. And when they see like a guy that they deem as alpha, they love to like latch on to them and basically live through them or like get their personality through that alpha. And I think you can kind of see that with King of the Hill and like their male friendship, as Hank is seen as the alpha and he was the football star, and that's the thing. So yeah, I feel like Bill. I just I'm just not a big fan of Bill. I'm really not. He infuriates me, and his patheticness bothers me because it just seems like a choice. It seems like a choice, and I know that I could be wrong. This is just my analysis. This is just my analysis, right? I could be wrong, but it just seems like his patheticness is so a choice. Like, you don't have to be this pathetic. You don't have to be this down bad, but that's what you're choosing. And then I think maybe it's because of the military, because the military does have a reputation of breaking people down. That could be another factor. Yeah, the military. But it says on here a therapist or a life coach. Bill had the potential for a good, successful, happy life, but him marrying Lorna, or whatever her name is, was a mistake given how, as Hank said, they had no chemistry together and argued so loud the neighbors could hear them. So there was something fundamentally wrong with how he approaches life and relationships. Look at how he obsesses over Peggy, and when Peggy finally shows some affection, when she got him to sell her pyramid scheme bars, he suddenly turned hostile and then didn't snap out of it until Peggy started acting hostile towards him too. His manic breakdown in the Christmas episode where he thinks he has to LARP as Leonore is the most extreme example of this. And then in another Christmas episode, he dresses up as Santa, buys kids gifts, and puts up a bouncy house in his yard. Creepy. Bill can't have either of them until he learns to love and respect himself. And I think that's something that really pisses me off, is that he doesn't love or respect himself for real. He just makes all the wrong decisions over and over and over again. And at which point do we like look at Bill and be like, okay, my guy, what's up? What's going to happen? When are you gonna like change? Like, why are you still staying? Like, what's like, you're a grown man. Like, I understand that he probably went through something in the military. He probably went through something in his childhood, but I just feel like he has enough to like draw himself out of there and make the right changes to just better himself. And when he had the opportunity, he didn't take it, and that really pissed me off because I was like, okay, finally we're gonna be done with this pathetic character, whatever arc, whatever. But no, he just went right back to it, and I'm like, okay, you're done. You're done. The last thing that I want to mention is how Hank does so much for Bill, but when it came to his, I forgot her name, sorry, Peggy's cousin, or yeah, Peggy's cousin's husband, I forgot his name, oh my gosh, I forgot all their names. He couldn't even like give him advice. And that might be the next video I'm gonna make on like, he could not even give him advice. He was just like, I don't care. And that really pissed me off about Hank. But here you are doing the most for Bill. Well, I think Bill does piss Hank off. Like, I can kind of tell he pisses Hank off. And Hank is just like, oh my gosh, Bill, what's your patheticness? Why can't you like change? But honestly, I think Hank needs to stop babying Bill, because I don't know, but then who knows what would happen? Because I think Bill is also a little bit soon. Like he's also a little bit like, you know what I mean? Like, so without Hank there, no one's gonna know. Like, who knows what's gonna happen to Bill?
Codependent much?
But at the same time, I feel like if Hank is babying Bill, how is he ever gonna stand up on his own 2 feet? You know? I made this video a couple months ago, but I did delete it, and I'm really sad that I did. Thank you guys so much for liking my previous one, and I'll see you next time. Like and subscribe. Cheers.